Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. You are now in Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all, okay? Get on in here. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now in the den. So this is my review recap for Queensugar. Season 7, Episode 3, Slowly, Always, and Irregularly. Now, child, this episode gave me everything I needed, okay? I like this episode. I was here for it. I was getting chills at some parts. You know, I was tearing up a little bit. Y'all know I'm sensitive, okay? It was making me smile. It was making me laugh. It just gave me the all-around emotions, and I was here for every single bit of it. So let's go ahead and get into this episode, y'all. So we started out this episode basically, seeing that Ralph Angel is still in his feelings, okay? He's still feeling the ways about what happened with Miss P. He was already down in the dumps with what happened with their farm, and now he's feeling guilty about what happened with her farm. And Darla is trying her best to encourage him, uplift him, still trying to say positive things. But right now, when you in that type of mood, sometimes, no matter how much the person means well and everything they could be saying is true, you just don't want to hear it. So the more Darla is telling him everything is going to be okay, it's all right. Miss P got her friends, she got her family, she's not alone in this. He's just basically like, yeah, but she's an independent woman. She was used to doing things on her own, and now everything is all jacked up. So he's just not in the mood, and he tells her he gonna go ahead and see her later, all right? And he walks off. We then basically had Micah, he coming in so excited that he got his patents, sold with this NFT. And the teacher's like, okay, yeah, that's cool and everything, right? But don't think that that is all it's about, all right? It's not just about you sitting here making money. You also want people to just love your art for it and want them to see the love you have for it. And he's like, Dad, that wasn't, the reaction that I was expecting. And so Miss Kiki is telling him, like, he's not really all into this digital stuff, right? And he thinks that the digital stuff is a little bit, shaky, right? And he did tell him that this guy was something to watch out for too as well. So, I'm still looking forward to this conversation when him and Kiki get a little bit deeper into that. But right now, Kiki want to know, is he single? Is he dating? Is this his guy? Are we doing labels? Are we not doing labels? He's like, nah, that's my friend. She's like, okay, so you not seeing nobody right now. He's like, where's all this going, okay? Or where is this coming from? And she's like, listen, I'm just curious, okay? Because, you can tell me anything if you wanted to. We are friends, right? And he said, we used to be a lot more than friends. And she was like, well, high school was a long time ago, and he says ancient history. And she was like, yep. She was like, so, what's the tea? So he's like, nah, me and him is just friends. He's Isaiah. We cool. And she says, well, no labels, that's perfect. And so she basically says, she is a, legendary wingman, okay? And she was like, you could ask any of her friends. And she said, a lot of them are really shocked when they find out that she was dating, Micah, okay? Micah West. And he was like, oh, so you've been telling people, about me. And she's basically like, I told them that you would have never made it if it wasn't for me showing you around St. Joe. And he said, yeah, that's probably true. So, we seeing a little getting back together, little reconnecting with Micah and Kiki. Now, Va, in the meantime, is trying to sit down with the guy that she was going to do this whole business thing with previously for her pies. And Darla done got this whole business plan set up. And she says, she apologizes to him that she had to reschedule their meeting because she said, we had an emergency last night. It could not be avoided, so we had to go ahead and deal with that. And he's letting her know, like, that's not a problem. I understand. I hope everything is okay. But he wants to stop them before they even get into the business plan. He tells Darla, like, I'm sure your plan is great, but unfortunately, I'm trying to retire, okay? So I don't know how much help I could be to y'all as far as the whole business thing goes now, And so, Aunt Vi gonna play it off. She's like, well, thank you for coming to see us anyway. Thank you for having the consideration to talk to us about this in person. She's like, and enjoy that retirement of yours. But she said, you're not going to get off that easy. We still gonna let you leave out of here with some of my good old pies, right? And we still could use your help, at least with you, to look over this and let us know the steps of what we have to do to be able to get things done. So he says, well, how about I do it for two? So they say they're gonna give him one. She was like, which one you want? He let her know, I like that daggone pecan pie. Stop playing with me, girl, okay? And Darla says she gonna give him one for now and then two for the road. And so, they going to still try to work it out however much they can. So now, Miss Nova just getting home, baby, okay? And her man Dominique is waking up on the sofa like, girl, where you been? I've been worried about you. And she lets him know all about what happened with Miss P house. And he was like, well, why you didn't call me? I would have came and I would have tried to help. And she says, well, because it actually happened in the middle of me being out with Mo and talking to her. So I didn't really have time and I didn't think about it. So now he's asking what time this was. Okay, Dominic is trying to put these figures together, honey. Because he like, all right, I understand that, but did that take you all night? All right. So she lets him know, like, she got so caught up in this, and Dominic started telling her, about different things that she could do, and they was trying to figure it out as far as, them taking Miss P house. And she was talking about how it happened like right after the council vote she had went, and that Dominic is telling her about doing a ring shot. And so she says she thinking about doing a ring shot where the laundries are supposed to be doing this bulldozing or whatever, right? And getting all the people involved. And so she was like, I just don't know what to do. I just can't let this happen and everything like that. So she says, I'm going to stage a ring shot on the land. So he was like, what am I missing? He said, girl, don't you know that is literally my job? He said, you're planning a ring shot. And literally, this is what I teach. I've been teaching the kids, about dancing and about, the Gula people and their traditions and stuff like that. And he gets all excited and, talking a mile a minute about it. And he was like, what exactly do you need? Who's staging it? Who's organizing it? And everything like that. And so who's calling the shots? And she's just sitting here looking at him. And he's like, what? And she was like, you a little bit of a nerd, right? You are a little bit of a nerd, but it's cute. I like it, okay? So obviously he could be a big help to her with staging this too. And so he was basically saying, yeah, he's been told that. And she was like, I'm not complaining. Now, in the meantime, you got Ralph Angel and Prosper, just all the people trying to talk about how, they are not going to give up. You got Billy standing up and giving this speech saying, listen, we ain't going for it. We ain't going back down. They not going to win. We're all in this together. I want y'all to remember that. They all looking up and smiling, but then they also looking in the back because they seeing this person walking in, okay? And she was saying, we not going to make it easy for them. We going to do what we got to do, and we will not back down. And so she was like, this has got to stop. We not taking it no more, right? And that means all of us joining in together and putting an end to this. And they all start clapping. So now when she turned around, baby, okay, she telling them, we got this, and who should be there but Vince. Vince said, I'm tired of you ignoring my calls, damn it, okay? I am in the building. And of course, I cannot even think of his name right now. But he played on Greenleaf and so many other things. And, he's up here. And so when they turn around, Prosper is basically like Vince. And he's like, hello, sir. And Billy is, I'm like, girl, pick your mouth up. Yes, Vince has came. Okay, he's came down here because you was bull crapping, girl. Okay, and Vince wants some answers. And so he basically is standing there and she just looking in shock. And Prosper and him is laughing and hugging and everything. And he telling him it's been a while. And he's like, yeah, too long. And he tells him, he looking really good or whatever. It's good to see him. So, he want to go ahead and give them their space so they could go ahead and talk. So now, Miss Billy is just like stuck on stupid for a minute. And then, she says hello and he's like, hi. And he's letting her know, like, girl, you wasn't easy to find. She like, how you found me in the first place. And he says, well, he was trying to walk around and find them. And they was talking about, is a spell. He said, baby, how long is a spell? Okay, is it a minute? Is it an hour? Is it a mile? Is it a half a mile? He couldn't get no direct answers. And then when he found where Prosper lived, nobody was home. And he was able to follow a truck here because they were saying that everybody was here. And so, of course, she lets him know, like, I'm going to keep it real. I really wasn't ready for this conversation. That's why you wasn't getting no answer, okay? She was laughing at him when he said he had a hard time finding a place. She was like, I don't mean to laugh. I just can't even imagine you out here and doing this, right? I wasn't expecting to see you. And so he's basically saying, yeah, well, I wasn't expecting for you to be out here this long. Like, you haven't been answering me. I don't know what's going on. I was starting to get worried. Like, why are you out here for so long? First, you didn't want to come here. Now you don't want to damn leave here. What is really the truth? And he's basically telling her at first that she needs to go ahead, because he was like, I was surprised to see you out here getting your Norma Ray on, okay? And she said, yeah, I'm just as surprised as you. That's not something I was expecting to be doing either. And he was trying to use the kids at first. Okay, Vince, we see you. Because he's talking about you got your family at home. You got the kids. You got to come back. You got a life there and all of this. And she had to let him know, like, our kids is grown. Our kids is up there in age. They not no little babies, okay? They are already off to college and doing their own daggone thing. They are not thinking about me or you. So let's cut the ball, okay? And then he was like, well, then you got me. Okay, let's get to the real deal here. You got a whole life. You got me. What is really happening? He said, everything seems so different now. And why and how is that? Like, I think you owe me, some type of freaking explanation. He was like, you never used to want to visit. You never used to want to bring the kids here. And so she basically was like, things have changed, right? And she had her reasons why she didn't want to be back here, right? And now she have her reasons why she want to stay or whatever. So, she basically was telling him she can't go into everything right now. All he wants is a straight conversation, but she says, I'm just not ready for it. And so, of course, Prosper comes and he's looking again, and she's telling him, telling Vince she don't know when she going to be ready for it. So I can understand where Vince is coming from, girl. You just done had him on hold. Now, you got Micah coming and telling Nova about him selling his paintings, and of course she's excited for him, but she like, boy, I still don't understand, okay? What the hell is an NFT? Nova, I'm with you, okay? You're not alone. And he says it's still a painting, it's just a digital painting that's online, right? And he just basically still was able to go ahead and make this money off of it. And so basically, he was like, the more people, the better, whatever, that gets to see it. Now, we got Chantel back in the building, okay? This was Nova's friend, and she's there, whatever, right? And so she was saying she was surprised that she would still be on the list, and that, they would even reach out to her, whatever the case may be, right? And Nova's telling her, you're a gift. You get people to turn up, and that's what's important and all of that. And so she said, I'll help you get them numbers up, but I need you to remember that you needed me, not the other way around, okay? Chantel got to throw some shots in there. So Nova's just telling her, like, come on, girl, let's get to this. You got Prosper out with Miss Sandy, and I'm happy that they getting to spend some time together, okay, and get to know each other. Prosper deserves this, all right, and Miss Sandy do too. They got too much other foolishness that's been going on, and they need to just be able to relax, relate, relief, and, be on their date. They talking about the time that they had with the previous people they was with, how many years they put in, and now being able to start over fresh and, getting to date someone now, right? Because it's like, have you been dating anybody? Well, nobody's special, okay? You. And so, Prosper said, I dated a few lovely women, but none of them compared to Claire, okay? And then COVID came, and, you couldn't reach out, you couldn't be around nobody and all of that. And so basically now they are both starting over fresh with each other, right? He says he thanks God for bringing him her. So that was really, really sweet, all right? Love to see it. Okay, love to see it. So basically we have, Darla trying to show on Vi around, right, where this co-op is at. Right now she's not only talking about this business plan, but she's also talking about her branching off and, mixing things up with this co-op. And she's telling her, sounds to me like you're a little bit scared. Sounds to me like you want to try to give up, like I hearing a little bit of fear there. So, she was like, well, I don't know about selling my pies here. And Dora's like, yeah, I think this is the next step. She was like, come on, folks will be lining up around the block. We could share, a booth with this co-op or whatever the case may be is a win-win. And, why not? Like, let's go for it. In the meantime, Mr. Ralph Angel is here, and he's talking to his ex/boss, and she's saying that they could open a few of these stalls up within the next 2 weeks, and they're going to give him a discount, and he could come in and he could fill up the space. So he was like, wow, that's perfect. He was like, Darla was trying to do this. She called earlier, but they told her we had to wait like a month. And so she said, well, the guy owes her some favors, so basically he's looking out or whatever. So Ralph is like, wow, thanks, And he also says there's a lot of competition, so he's a little scared and a little nervous and a little lurky too. And she's letting him know, look, I felt the same way when it was the first year when I first, I was second guessing myself and doing everything you doing right now. He was like, is that easy to tell? She says, yeah. She said, but come on, you could move past this. You could do it. If anybody could do it, you could do it, right? And so he was saying he wondered if Darla gets it. And the ex-girlfriend, okay, aka the boss, was saying, stop saying that, don't do that. She was like, I'm married as well, and if my husband was doing that and talking to somebody else, second guessing me or whatever, I would not like it. And here he go, no, it's not like that, I don't mean it in that way. I just mean that, you know what it feels like to be running a business that was your mother's business and her mother's business, and it's in the family. And I just don't think that Darla gets it from that aspect or whatever, right? And I get where Ralph Angel is coming from and why he feels like he could kind of confide in her and talk to her about this, because they do kind of have similar backgrounds, right? It's just that hers is more so with the market and fish and stuff like this, and his was with the land and farming. But still, she had a point, and she was trying to warn you. And instead of damn, Ralph Angel shutting up, here he go repeating it again. And who should come walking up and hear him the second time? He says, I get it, but I just don't think that Darla would be able to understand. And she comes behind him like, well, what I understand, Ralph Angel. I said, Ralph Angel, damn it, you should have shut up. Okay, while you was ahead. And of course, when he turns around, her and Aunt Vi is standing there. I said, Lord, you don't put your foot in your mouth, Ralph Angel. You are in trouble now, okay? And so, we move along from that. So them all sitting down to eat dinner. And of course, Darla's still in her feelings. She don't want to eat. She's like, why couldn't you just come to me and talk to your wife instead of you talking to your ex-girlfriend? At first, Hollywood is saying, what's going on? What's with the funny looks? What did I miss? What am I not supposed to know? And then when he overhears it, he's like, yeah, I could have went without, knowing about that. And then at one point, Vi was going to intervene, and Hollywood was telling her, like, shh, Vi, don't, okay, leave it alone. And so she basically be's quiet, and Ralph is trying to apologize and saying, I didn't mean it in that way. And he was saying, because she was saying that it was her idea for the booth, it was her idea for the co-op. She was like, you rather talk to your boss than your wife. He was saying, what difference does it make? As long as we got in the booth, it shouldn't matter which way that we did. And he says, my bad, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. And she basically gets up and walks away from the table and was like, I'm not hungry no more. And then Vi and Hollywood is looking at him, and he's just like, damn. I'm like, yeah, you messed up there, okay? You messed up big time. So, you have Vince sitting here talking to Prosper. They laughing, they talking football, they drinking beers, and he's letting him know, like, wow, this is such a nice town here. The people are good. Your home seems well lived in and well loved. He was like, I just pictured it in such a different way, or whatever the case may be, right? I didn't know that it was going to be like this. And Prosper was saying, yeah, let him in even when he didn't deserve it. He was like, I don't mean no disrespect, but I just thought it was horrible because Billy never wanted to come back. And so, of course, Billy over here shaking her head at her father, and he just says there were reasons. And he was like, well, eventually I would like to know what those reasons were. I think I should understand, what kept you away from here so long. It affects me too. But of course, Billy is still not ready to change that, to talk about all of these things with him, right? And he says, I'm sorry if you weren't ready to see me, but basically I'm here now, okay? I am here now. So Prosper says he ain't gonna start giving no fatherly advice tonight. He just gonna say that it is good to see you, Vince. Okay, I am glad that you're here, and you are always welcome in my house, and you always will be. And he just says goodnight to them, and he go ahead and walk off. And so Billy is still trying to tell him like she does owe him an explanation, but she just can't do it right now. And Ralph Angel was giving Hollywood the breakdown of how he felt and the way why he was talking. And Hollywood said, yeah, I hear you, but that's bullshit. He was like, listen, you could always talk to Darla. She was the one beside you. She was the one fighting. She was the one that cried and literally had to leave with a brand new baby and move away from the farm. It hurt her just as much as it hurt you. She's the one that's been trying to get the co-op and help with everything with the land and everything else. And he was like, she's basically trying to hold you up. And he was like, yeah, but she shouldn't be holding me up. I should be holding her up. And Hollywood had to come in and preach, baby. Okay, he had to break it all the way down and say, nah, you got it wrong. Y'all supposed to hold each other up, okay? Darla is not a woman that wants you to take care of her. She wants you to basically be there to take care of each other. And you got to understand that. She's not one of these little girls out here that's running around thinking that it's supposed to be that way. She wants to be your partner. She wants to stand with you, okay? I said that's facts on facts on facts, Hollywood, okay? Break it down. So he was like, y'all not easy, okay? Y'all family got some mess with y'all, but I love y'all nonetheless, and I stand with y'all, and we all, try to help each other. And so Ralph had to tell him, like, you're right and thank you, right? Because he always there for him. Now, on the flip side, we got Darla and Vi in the house, and she comes giving Darla this money, and Darla don't want to take it. But she said, no, you came up with that business plan. You've been putting in work left, right, front, center, all around, in, out for everybody and never asking for nothing. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to give you a handout. I'm trying to pay you your worth, which you would have had anybody else pay for you doing the job that you're doing, just like any other business partner. And she's like, business partner? She said, yeah, that farmer's market idea was a good idea, okay? And you've come up with a whole bunch of other ones this past week alone. You've been putting in the work. So she talking about Ralph Angel doesn't think so. She said, girl, you can't sit around and be waiting and thinking about what daggone Ralph Angel thinking. Plus, he's caught up in his pride right now. She says, he got that stuff wrapped around in his head. She says, Ralph Angel knows you're smart, but you don't need his approval for that. And so Darla's basically like, but I would like it, okay? She told her you don't need anyone's approval. And she says, well, that's fine. I get that you may want it, but when it's all said and done, you are good at this. You do a great job. And she was like, I think part of the problem is that I put stuff in your head and made you feel like you wasn't worthy. You selling yourself short. And, I might have been a big part of that. And if I was, then I do apologize, because I think I might have made you feel like you didn't belong or you didn't earn your way into this community. And I really appreciated, Aunt Vi giving her that apology. Aunt Vi don't say sorry too often, okay? And when she says it, she means it, and Darla's basically crying at this point. And she tells her, stand tall and know your worth, girl, okay? And take this damn money. What do you say? So Darla went ahead, and took the money and told her thank you. And she basically was like, no, thank you. And I loved, seeing that between them two. So we had, Micah basically looking at, this video, Charlie, when she's little and she's talking about she's going to be president one day. And he went ahead and sent that to her. He was saying this was day one. And she said, told him thank you or whatever, right? I'm really mad that we not getting to see Charlie this season, though. I'm not even gonna lie. And then we see Nova and Chantel just still here kicking and talking and whatever. And Chantel is trying to throw some little shots, okay? She got some shade for Nova. She's saying, you always basically self-destruct. When you see that a relationship is going a certain way, then that's when you start reaching out to other people. That's when you start doing different things. She's like, being as though I'm in therapy now, I'm learning some different stuff. But Nova was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do here. She was like, don't get me wrong, okay? She was like, Dominique is really a good guy. I really, really like him, and it's so different with him. She was like, I don't think he gets that side of me that some of these other people have gotten. Okay, it's a completely different dynamic, with him. And she says she learned her lesson from everything that happened with the book, and everything that's happened in the past. And so she's really trying to get a good sense of things and rectify a lot of mistakes that she made, and she's trying to have that growth now. And so she was like, but Dominique is amazing. Okay, there's no complaints there. Now she was like, it's just basically that she's a different person with him or whatever, right? And she says she don't want to let him into all that other stuff. And so Chantel told her, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Okay, you are supposed to let him in. You're supposed to let him see you warts and all. You're not perfect. Nobody is perfect, and I'm sure he's not perfect either, whatever, right? And maybe we could have handled things better, but it's not your book that dug up those daggone bones from that massacre, right? It is, Sam and his trash and 100 years of, basically everything that your people went through, right? And many people went through. So she was like, if Dominic is this God that you say he is, then he gonna want to work things out. He gonna want to see you, let him see you, okay? And not too long after she's telling her this, Dominic comes walking in. So it's like, speak of the devil, honey. And she lets him know, like, oh, okay, you are better. Okay, this is an upgrade from that white cop. That made me crack up. Okay, I said, Chantel is a daggone mess. He talking about, well, yeah, then, let her stay, right? Because he want to get as much of the tea as he can. Now, in the meantime, you have Micah and Kiki still sitting here trying to talk now, okay? And he's showing her his different pictures that he's taken, and she's like, wow, these are really good, Micah. And he's like, thanks or whatever, right? And he's like, that was for Black History Month or whatever the case may be. And she was like, it's not NFTs are all about selling vibes or whatever the case may be, right? And he don't know black pain isn't a vibe. So those are basically ones that he wouldn't want to sell. And so she was like, yeah, about these distributors with the real world and then they Bali or whatever. He was like, you know what? I'm going to make them see it, through my eyes or whatever the case may be. So she said, what are you doing? And he basically starts to, go to the NFT site and puts in a submission and says, thank you for submission. So he says he was going to sell Black History Month. And she said, cheers to that. I don't know, Micah. I don't know, but we shall see. All right. They have a cheers to the distributors. So, of course, Ralph Angel coming here and he tried to have a conversation with Darla, let her know where he coming from and that he didn't mean it in that way. And he's telling Baby True that he really hopes when she grows up, she gets all the best parts of Darla. She has her strength. And he was like, sometimes he just gets caught up or whatever, right? And we know that about Ralph Angel. I'm sure Darla knows that, right? And he says he have this idea of what he think a man is supposed to be and how he's supposed to come across and be able to provide, and he just basically messed up, point blank, period. And he tells her that he's sorry. And so he was telling Baby True that he wants her to have all of the good qualities that her mama have or whatever, right? And that he thanks her for listening always and being there for him and taking a second to get through his head or whatever, right? And she's telling him she's not jealous. Trini has been very good to them and she appreciates her and everything, but she just wants him to talk to her first. So communication is the key, right? They say they are better together. So I like that part too, right? Just want him to let her in and all of that kind of stuff. So we still had Billy and her husband talking. She's telling him, like, I appreciate you being here. I know it's things we need to talk about, but I'm not ready now. She getting the bed ready. He says, okay, let's sleep on it. Let's talk tomorrow. He looked like he wanted to get a little kiss, but she was just like, night, Vince. Okay. And then you have Nova asking her man, like, are you going to be able to get Wi-Fi? I'm going to really miss you while you're away. He said, Wi-Fi could get a little sketchy, but I'm going to do what I got to do to see what I can make happen. And he was just saying to her, you can always come with me because you basically be working from home and typing on your computer. So, your laptop, so you could be anywhere doing that. And she was like, nah, but right now I can't just get up and leave, right? And so she come over to the bed and he's basically saying to her that, with him doing these ring shots, it really brought a different perspective. He was like, he's been doing storytelling and all this stuff with the Gorillas for years, but it never impacted him in the same way that it has now. And he says that it's a magic that she makes people feel, that she makes him feel, okay, where she has this power that comes over him to make him think about things and see things in a way that he never has before. So at first she like, keep talking about these powers, okay? I like to hear it, but he basically was like, I'm serious. He was like, I want you to know that these last few days I've been kind of worried about losing that. And, what part of you do I get? What part does Mo know? What part does Chantel know? I'm never going to know those same parts of you. And she said, well, that's different. She was like, Chantel, like the part of me that was basically, doing activism, and being quote unquote wild or whatever, Mo knew a different part of me. I don't want you to feel that way. And she was like, everybody kind of is a different person with different people, right? She said, but the truth is that you actually get all the parts of me. I said, okay, Nova, I don't know if that's true, but it was sounding good, okay? And Dominique was obviously here for it. And so she basically, was able to go ahead and get that kiss for him, okay? And I'm sure they moved on into other things, excuse me, after that. And so, we finally basically get to this moment where they're out here on the farm. They're looking so beautiful. And you could just feel it. Like, this part really gave me chills and made me tear up a little bit. They was all kind of having their moments. Ralph Angel was saying he's still in his feelings. Prosper was saying, look, it's still here. It's still standing. As long as it's still standing, we got a chance. Nova was feeling kind of nervous or whatever. And then she finally comes up to give this speech. Before she was going up to give the speech, you have this moment with her and Anva where she's like, I'm so proud of you, and you were reminding me so much of your mother right now and how she was and showing her strength, okay? And you knew that meant a lot to Nova to have Anva say that. And so when she gets up here, she's like, people, workers lived here. They were guns out, fighting for a better life. She just basically was like, we have a tendency to lionize our dead and to basically to make them martyrs and angels or victims out of injustice and give us distance. And, it blurs their faces and it makes them ideal. And, rather than a group of living, breathing, smoking, drinking, swearing, having sex, whatever, people. And they kind of laugh a little bit when she was saying that, just like us, and she was just saying that, the reality is that they are here. Her mother Trudy is buried here. There's other family members that's buried here. There's other families, from her family and from other people's families that's here. And all these families that are buried here, I thank you and I implore you to listen to them and what they want, not what we want, but what they want and where they want to stay buried or whatever the case may be. She was like, listen. And then they start to just sing this song and, they hitting their drums and shaking the daggone tambourines and all that other kind of stuff and doing their dance. And like I said, just chills. Everybody just quiet and watching and looking or whatever. And then at one point as they doing this, you could see Sam coming with the sheriff like he was about to try to interrupt it or stop it or whatever. And I said, Sam, if you don't get your behind up out of here, okay, be gone, be gone, be gone. Nobody wants you. For a minute, Nova looked a little nervous when she was seeing him coming towards them. Micah's taking pictures of them and all of that. They was beautiful there in the middle with they all white on or whatever. But even Sam, okay, them ancestors said, back up out of here, right? He even had to back off. He stopped right in his tracks, was watching them for a minute, and then he basically went walking away. Of course, we know, that ain't going to stop him probably for good. He going to still come with some other mess later. But for today, Sam ass was up out of here, okay? Just the way we like it. And that was basically the episode, y'all. Put it in the comments. Tell me what you thought about this episode, okay? Where you think we going next? What was your thoughts on it and all that good stuff? Let's discuss. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are so inclined. Give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. All right, y'all. Till next time. Toodaloo.